The LCV Visa card? Come on.
Brand new. Brand new. Come on. It's great.
Now, what do you personally do to be green?
What do I personally? So I bought my first hybrid in 2002. Every day on the job, I try to make sure the climate gets protected.
You had the president speak at your big dinner.
You know, you may not know this, but we were with the president back in 2003. He remembers that to this day. He was a champ back then, and he's an amazing champ now. It was a great event, a thrilling event for all of us.
And what's the president like in person?
The first time I met him, we talked basketball, because I'm a big basketball guy.
Georgetown.
And he's a big basketball guy. Go Hoyas, go Knicks. I said, when you reject the Keystone pipeline, let's have a game in the backyard.
And what did he say?
He just nodded his head.
Now, Gene, we've got a Keystone poster over here. Republicans are using that as a real bludgeon against Democrats.
In 2012, Keystone ads were run against people who supported not doing the pipeline, as well as in the presidential. Over $10 million spent. Not one of those candidates lost where Keystone ads are run against them. So it might be a nice issue to raise some money on. It's not the issue that it's going to cost anyone their job.
What's your plan for 14?
Big year. Number one priority is protect the Senate firewall. We will spend more money this year in an off-year election than we ever did before.
You guys have just detonated an ad in the Iowa Senate race. What's going on there?
So it's an open seat. Tom Harkin was a great environmental champ. Bruce Braley, House member, trying to be the new senator. Joni Ernst is a climate change denier. We just put an ad up, and she's just so far outside the mainstream. And the ad talks about how she wants to abolish the education department. She wants to abolish the EPA. And in that ad, by the way, we also had Sarah Palin saying we need her to represent our values.
Is Sarah Palin more useful to Democrats or to Republicans?
Well, maybe she helps Republicans raise money, but I think the average person in Iowa understands she's outside the mainstream values that they support.
A lot of Democratic candidates are worried about the new EPA guidelines.
Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. If you're just inside this beltway, Washington, D.C., you think the EPA is some runaway agency that's going to cost jobs and raise our prices.
No, there's a lot of places in America that think the same thing. You go to Kentucky, West Virginia,
Well, here's
North
the
Carolina.
thing. We do national polls all the time, and we do state-specific polls. We did a state-specific poll, 11 battleground states. 3-1, the public supports EPA cutting carbon pollution from power plants. They would rather have EPA do the job than Congress do the job.
Now, Gene, our hairlines show people that we've been around for a while. You go back to Ralph Nader.
I right out of law school, my first job out of law school, I went to Georgetown, was working as being an early Nader's Raider.
Gene, tell us about this tie.
Oh, the tie. Actually, if you went to the back of my door, you'd find about half a dozen more. So I wear a Garcia tie every day. That's part of me. I went to my first Dead show in Providence in 1971 while I was at Brown University.
And a question for Jake Sherman, what about Fish?
Fish, I never got there. Some of my friends, next generation, went from the Dead to Fish. I stay with Further, and that's as far as I go.